the poster released with it, again, Saturday, June 17th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the premiere. In the poster are the wrestlers we previously named, with several others. Some people are getting upset about one of the names in there, as I'm sure you will see and hear in a second, or feel in a second. But maybe it's just that they're putting all their champions in it, I don't know. But also in the poster...
Well, and now they will be on TNT.
TNT.
On Saturday nights.
Saturday nights.
As opposed to Wednesday nights where they got the Dynamite. Who is on the poster now featured for the new Saturday night program?
Samoa Joe, Thunder Rosa, Powerhouse Hobbs, previously mentioned also, Miro, Andrade El Idolo, FTR, the House of Black, MJF, and Orange Cassidy. And Orange Cassidy and MJF are the two biggest in the artwork. Their heads are bigger than the entire torsos of everyone else.
My God, Nick Goulas has come back from the grave and he's put George on the poster next to fucking Ric Flair.
Tony, here's one of Tony's biggest faults. Tony is insistent on finding a way, because he believes there is a way, to get Orange Cassidy over with the people that don't like him. Not to feature him for the people that like him. If he's on this show, this is all about Tony wanting to get people that don't like Orange Cassidy, forcing them. You will have to see this guy until you accept him. That's what it is.
And how is that show then going to look any different from the shit they do on Wednesday nights with that asshole all over it?
Different color ring ropes.
So let's talk the other FTR. They couldn't make the fucking press release over Thunder Rosa or Andrade?
But again, that's why with FTR, MJF, and Orange Cassidy there, you wonder if it's just, and the House of Black technically too, you wonder if it's just they're putting the champions on there, minus the women's champions. And that's why they're there, because they would be on both shows technically as champions.
Well, good God, well then there's other champions.
And by the way, the logo for this show is, I shouldn't say identical, but it would be impossible to see this logo and not think of WCW Nitro. I don't know if you've seen this logo yet.
I have not, and honestly, I'd probably have to look at an old fucking magazine to remember the Nitro logo, because I didn't give a shit about that then either. But, and I just, again, if they're doing this with a strategy for a new television program that will feature a different presentation as on Wednesday night, a different style of matches, maybe a different announcer setup, or something with a different look and a different feel and a different vibe with different talent than on Wednesday night. If they have a plan for that and a separate sets and whatever the case, it seems that almost everybody that has been announced is for lack of a better term, not a fucking aggressive parkour artist or trampoline cowboy. So we might get some actual matches that made some sense. Obviously, MJF has to, because he is the world champion, and also because last time I checked, nobody is looking to punch him in the locker room, and nor is he looking to punch anybody else. So I believe he can travel about amongst the warring tribes and emerge unscathed, and he's the champion and also one of the best performers, so they got to have him on both shows.
That's an interesting thing, though, you just said. Do you think MJF should start a fight in the back just to keep up with the Joneses?
Well, no, I was going to say to not have to work an extra night of the week, if you mean. Is it what you, now a bunch of people are like, oh, fuck, now, we'll stay over here. We don't have to travel on the weekend, whatever. But anyway.
Tony, can I work Saturday? No, I'm sorry, you're booked for Wednesday. Fuck, where's Sammy so I can punch him?
There'll be a line in front of Sammy Guevara like the fucking, on the plane on Airplane. But anyway, if they have a plan for a different look, a different style, different presentation, with mostly different talent and the major people that you would want to see that would mean something for business can vacillate back and forth as long as they don't get on the wrong side of the romper room section, then that's one thing. But if they're if they're going to do the same kind of shows, same thing with a lot of the same people in the same way on Saturday night that as opposed to Wednesday, then what they're going to do, basically Wednesday we've said is a better night for television viewers because they're viewing because there's more people watching television. That's what the experts say these days. But Saturday night's a better night for selling fucking tickets to a live event. And especially if they're putting on a better live product, the Saturday night could dilute the Wednesday night live audiences, but they'll have, as Mama Cornette used to say, a longer row to hoe to catch up with the numbers of the Wednesday night audience because they've got a built-in disadvantage. But now it becomes, if there's no difference to this, if it doesn't have a more serious tone for people that don't want to see the guy stick his hands in his pockets and try to find his dick or play with his balls, then again, what backup do they have? Is Tony still going to be in charge of creative of a whole different group of people? Because now he's added an extra column of people to remind him of who can't be in the same building with the other person. But he's still going to write this whole thing, in which case the whole experiment may be fruitless anyway because he can't do anything different. Actually, everything he does is different. That's the problem. But so I still don't understand how this is a good idea based on having to keep your employees separate because they won't do what you tell them to do and they can't get along with each other. And you don't have the ability to just say, get along, get it on, or get the fuck out of here. Because they've now got, and a lot of people are not even thinking about this, their Rampage is still floating around out there. They got 5 hours of national cable television per week now. That, my God, any wrestling promotion in history would have killed for, including all the good ones. Who never got that?
It's a double-edged sword, though. Like, it's great to have all that TV time, but it's almost too much TV time, actually.
Well, yeah, well, here's where I'm going. That's the point I'm making. They've got 5 hours of TV time to fill in an entertaining way to get people to watch it and hopefully get bigger rights fees and blah, blah, blah. We'll all be free to pursue a life of religious freedom. And they're talking about splitting the roster up. Fuck, let's go into war and take half our guns, because over here, well, those people ain't really firing at us right now, but we'll leave half the guns over there anyway. What the fuck are you doing? Jesus H. Christ. And if Punk's deal ain't done, Tony ought to fire his fucking entire legal staff.
Bingo.
Starting with the one that is probably causing most people to be at full staff. So, because how do you do the network announcements? And how do you stop it over there? How do you do the network announcements? How do you book a fucking NBA building? And you still can't fucking officially say this guy's fucking name? And besides, and now to go to your last point, we can talk about this. 5 hours of AEW. 5 hours of WWE. That's without any other... I'm not even talking about any other promotions. I'm talking about any pay-per-views or Battle of the Belts or fucking Tribute to the Troops or Wing-a-Ding-Dong, whatever the fuck else they all do. Premium live events, Saudi Arabian nightmares. Just from those companies. And what are people supposed to quit their jobs and like they're going to go live in a convent that plays wrestling 24 hours a day and devote their lives to keeping up with it? At some point, what the fuck? And it wasn't like this when they said, well, wrestling in the the 50s network craze was a victim of overexposure like boxing. Boxing may have been. Boxing wasn't particularly that fucking exciting and still ain't, except at the major level. But wrestling wasn't on, when it was on network TV every night of the week, it still wasn't on this much. And there were 30 million people watching these programs. What killed wrestling on the networks then was Dumont going out of business. And then everybody folding their tent and going home. But this is impossible for anybody but a fanatic in the worst way to keep up with. So by attrition, the first thing I'd do is say, you gave us Rampage as a make good for switching the network on us. Take Rampage back. You just gave us 2 more hours. Pay us big money for that. Take Rampage back. We don't want it. We don't want it. You can have it. It's no good for us. But how much can you watch, Brian? What is this going to do to our lives?